Well, I'm not sure if you ever enjoyed a particular dance craze. Let's go back a few years when we had the hokey pokey, the Macarena. And would you believe that the waltz was actually a dance craze? Well, there's a shout out for those over 18 and under 24 to come up with their own dance craze. This is a story that Mike Pritchard has been pursuing here. It's an initiative of the Arts Upper Hunter Committee headed by Mark Reedman. How did you get onto this story, Mike?
Oh, well, Mark called in one day looking for an opportunity just to get people involved in providing their own dance craze, and like the Macarena, like the hokey pokey, etc., etc. We got talking, and then there was a challenge in getting the music for that dance craze, for the youngsters in the competition to put their dance craze to it.
Now, this is one of the troubles with social media, of course. You've got to own everything that's on there because the publishers take a very dim view of you putting other people's material up, as do the copyright owners, of course.
That's right. So we put a call out, and it went to Newcastle. It went to one of the music schools down there, and there was a lady that put her hand up after the teacher suggested she may be able to do that. She had a very short period of time to do it. She managed to do it. So she's provided a couple of songs, a couple of tracks in particular that people can participate in the dance craze and make their nomination. And this is a little bit more of Mark Reedman and how it all came about.
I'm a YouTube surfer, particularly of music tracks, and came across some dance crazes over the years, of which there have been many. One of which, for example, was the twist, which is possibly the easiest dance ever invented. Even I can do the twist. You know, the Macarena and the Gangnam, horse riding thing and the hokey pokey. And in fact, so I did a bit of research and it turned out the waltz was actually a dance craze. And in fact, it was banned initially in some places because it involved people actually dancing very closely. And then I came across the latest one one of the latest ones called the floss. And I thought, young people might be interested in inventing a dance craze. So I thought, we'll have a video comp and young people can invent a dance craze, video it and send it to us and we'll have a bit of a competition. But then I realised that young people couldn't just pick their favourite singer because of copyright. So you can't just say, I'll use a Britney Spears song on video because of copyright, which presented huge problems. So I looked online and there was some copyright-free music, but it wasn't very good. So I rang a contact in Newcastle at the Hunter Regional Music Institute to see if there were any students who might be interested in creating some dance tracks. In due course, I received a couple of tracks from, as it turned out, a woman called Morrigan, Raine, whom I didn't know and hadn't really heard of, and they were terrific. And I did a bit more research and discovered that Morrigan actually lives in Muswellbrook, which was amazing. So we met. That's sort of how that came to be. And the tracks are copyright free, so the young people can choose from one of two of the tracks.
Of Morrigan's?
Yes.
I'm going to go back a little bit here now because, excuse my ignorance, the floss. What sort of dance move is that?
You've got to imagine you've got a big piece of floss in either hand and you're flossing various parts of your body.
No.
That's a great description.
Well, that's what they do.
Yeah.
Right?
Morrigan, I think you coming on board has added new dimensions to even the competition and the Arts Upper Hunter in particular. But let's get a little bit of background on you. You've been in Muswellbrook for some time.
Yes.
But we haven't heard a lot about you.
No, I've been in Muswellbrook for about 12 years now, but I've only been doing music for about 2. I've always wanted to do music, but I never had a chance because I was busy being a stay-at-home mother and doing all this other stuff. And eventually I thought, well, the time has come and I decided to pursue my dream of becoming an artist and a sound engineer. So 2 years ago, I found out about Newcastle TAFE and their incredible facilities that they have. And I enrolled, and that's it pretty much for the 2 years I've been doing that. And I started releasing music pretty consistently over the last 2 years.
And this is dance music?
This is all kinds of genres. I don't stick to one particular genre because I tend to get bored very easily. So it's more like whatever comes to mind, whatever I feel like in the moment. So I do a bit of electronic music. I do a bit of pop music, folk music. I do a lot of orchestral stuff, instrumental and orchestral pieces. So really just a variety of things. Yeah.
And do you write your own songs?
I do. I write everything on my own. I basically sing, write, lyrics, music, record, mix, produce, everything on my own. I have a home studio set up.
Have you released any songs?
I have released quite a few over the last 2 years, yes. I have released on pretty much every streaming platform, so on Spotify and Apple Music and SoundCloud and everything pretty much. Basically, I have released a song last year. Last year I released a lot of songs, but yeah, I released one song and we filmed a video and released a video a few weeks ago, so that's pretty much brand new. And the video came out just a few weeks ago. And another one of my songs that is also a pretty big deal for me, I wrote this song for the Sam Lewis Peace Award competition, which was run by the New South Wales Teachers Federation. And it's a very personal song to me. It's actually about war and not peace. But it ended up winning the first prize. We are now filming a video for that as well. Yeah.
So that song about war, or does that come from any of your previous background experience?
It does. I am originally from Israel, and so I kind of took all that experience of being in a sort of unstable place and growing up with hearing sirens, like air raids, and just living in the constant sort of fear of war and thinking about other people who are in similar situations in other countries around the world. I sort of took that on board and made a song about that. So I wrote it for my kids, and basically the main idea, it's called Crimson Lullaby. I wrote it about 3 a.m. in the morning, and I wrote it, and the idea was that I'm singing a lullaby to my children who are very, very innocent and have no idea about anything that's going to happen. And so basically it's about parents who raise their children in the environment of war and constant sort of fear. And so they're singing this lullaby for them, knowing that pretty much everybody's going to die. It's very dark. Very, very dark.
We have introduced you as Morrigan Raine, but your name is Anna, of course. So,
yes.
Anna, the tracks that you provided to Arts Upper Hunter, tell us a little about those.
That's actually a pretty funny story. I've always wanted to try to write dance songs, but I haven't had a chance to do it. And I remember it was late at night, like not late, but it was about like 7 o'clock in the evening. And my teacher at the time, he contacted me and he said, quick, I need a couple of songs by tomorrow. And I said, okay, what's this all about? And he was like, here's the quick brief. And in the brief, like you said before, he mentioned Gangnam Style and something. So I had an idea that, it's got to be really simple, kind of repetitive. And I didn't have any idea what it was for. I was told it's for some sort of dance thing, but I didn't know if it was an event or a class or like a recurrent, I didn't know anything. So I went, okay, challenge accepted. So I stayed up that night and I wrote those 2 tracks. And so by the next morning it was done pretty much. Okay, well, I can write under pressure. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and I quite like them. They're funny. Later on I found out it was for kids. I wish I knew that beforehand. But it's okay. They're clean. That was cool. And I thought, well, that's great. I got to, challenge myself, learn something in the process, and now I know I can do this and I can experiment even more in the future.
The dance craze that these youngsters are going to bring forward in the competition there are from these 2 tracks.
Yes, and I should explain it's for groups of 3 to 6 in the Dungog, Singleton, Muswellbrook and Upper Hunter local government areas. You can get some info and enter if you Google Arts Upper Hunter, and you'll see the Dance Craze info there, and there's a link to the contest, everything you need to enter.
So these youngsters, I say youngsters, they don't have to be, do they?
8 to 15.
Oh, they are youngsters. So they're going to create their own dance craze. And who knows where that might go from here.
Exactly.
Yes.
Anna, thanks for joining us on the program. And Mark, thank you for joining us too.
Thanks, Mike.